Hello, everyone. As you heard, my name is Manousos Chairetis. I'm presenting from Crete, Greece, and it's 4:30 in the morning here. I will present the proposal for creation of Interhuman Space Immigration Corporation, which is actually a continuation of my last year's presentation with title All Space to All. You can find it on the Mars Society YouTube channel. So I would like to start about the problem and the force at the same time, because the problem is actually the force that will move us to space. The problem that we all face in humanity in current times is actually the overpopulation and the lack of resources. Currently, we're about 8 billion, and that's 7 times more than 150 years ago. We're going to be 10 billion in 2050 and 12 billion in 2100. So we need about 10 times more energy that will be made for fossil and petroleum fuels for food production and support for all human life and activities. Right. So all this creates major greenhouse gases that result from the human activity. Carbon dioxide, methane, nitrous oxide, industrial gases, are actually polluting our planet and make it hard for us all to live in it. And the other thing is that major climatic changes and disturbances that leading to great catastrophic results like floods, hurricanes, fires, put in danger all the harmonic life of humans in all Earth. So the other thing is that there's lack of land and sea for sustainment. So we need to have more land for population and agricultural land for food production. And we need more sea to produce seafood by sea farming and fishing. So lack of resources of sustainment are also the need of drinkable water. Irrigation, sewage, and laundry water. So the dangers of humanity, the dangers humanity faces because of this major problem, which is actually a force in the same time, is that we might confront major conflicts between nations fighting for resources. That has happened in the past many times, actually all the written history of humanity. This is all about, these were the reasons that they were creating conflicts, wars, and destruction. So the numbers that we have today in humanity can cause major conflicts that can extinct humanity from other parts of humanity. The other thing is that we might have another kind of war, which is not with weapons, but with diseases, like which is created, it's made, and it has been created so much crisis in humanity over the last two years. So there will not be enough for all unless humanity seriously works to avoid self-destruction. So what can solve the problem? A temporary solution that may last for some decades, maybe a century, is production and use of any environmental safe renewable energy resources from the sun, air, the sea, the water, nuclear fusion, H2 production from all safe low greenhouse gas sources, and fair distribution of food and resources to all humans. But that, as I said, it can last only a few decades, maybe a century, with the way humanity increases in population. The permanent solution is starts the exploitation of Moon, Mars, asteroids for bringing resources needed here on Earth, and immigrate to space for overpopulation pressure relief of Earth. So we have to take the right decision early. the right decision is to create an interhuman space organization for exploration and immigration of space as a form of an interhuman corporation that all must be involved as potential investors, partners, and customers. The mission of the International Space Migration Corporation will be to prepare humanity, creating all necessary tools to migrate rapidly and successfully to exploit Moon, Mars, asteroids, and prepare for mass migration of humanity to space. That includes, in general terms, education and training in large numbers on young generations and immigration personnel. We have also to make space facilities to create them and prepare them on Earth, creating analogs that will be installed or created or constructed on Moon or Mars on Earth for installation on Moon or Mars. Then is the launching systems, R&D and support for immigration and readiness for mass exploitation and immigration. I have to point out something which is a danger as well, the danger of saturation of satellite market. So far, we have some companies that they do space tourism, like Blue Origin and Richard Branson's company. And maybe others will come in the future. And we have a market that actually launches satellites to low Earth orbit or in orbit around Earth. That is a market that will be saturated because there is already about 4,000 plus, 4,500 plus satellites in operation. That's the known ones, and we have about 27,000 objects larger than 10 centimeters, and that's debris around the Earth that actually impairs and will impair the future space launches. So what we could do, or what we can do to surveillance, observe, help actually, and facilitate life on Earth using low Earth or Earth orbit is more or less being done. That will result to a problem because after that market will end, all the infrastructure and the knowledge and technology and the science known and used and the people that they carried to do this kind of jobs on Earth will have no market, therefore no survival. So there is something that must be done very quickly in order to use them people over the next 30 years in order to improve as much as possible and create all the necessary tools in order to be able to go to the Moon and Mars. And actually, that will be the future market, the market of immigration, exploitation, and immigration. There's another thing that actually it's good to be done because without it we cannot go to space. Is the exploration. The exploration is good, but it has to be useful. We have to explore in order to use. We have to do the science and learn things about how the universe works and how the universe can work for us humans, for our survivability and sustainment. And we have to use it. It's not just a theoretical thing. So, what ISIC will provide in return to investors, partners, and customers, ISIC can offer the opportunity to immigrate for work, to Moon, Mars, asteroids, and interplanetary space for humanity. The other thing is that profits from the wealth that will be created from the exploitation of Moon, Mars, and asteroids can be made. And of course, profits of space tourism and work for people that they want to work in space tourism, to go beyond the low Earth orbit for a few minutes, to go to Moon and stay there for work, or for mining Moon, or for living on the Moon, on Mars. So actually, we have to call everyone who has an interest on space must be calling, and the people that they have the power to help support and take part into the creation of ISIC have to be called, and that is actually countries and governments that they have to invest, and that will be long-term investment. It's going to be an investment for about 30 years that people who put money and effort in, countries have to put money in it and start having the returns to that investment after maybe 20 or 30 years. Of course, space agencies have to unite by a way to take part as partners or investors on that. Obviously, companies who work already on space and companies that would be start in the future have to be partners on that. And of course, all companies that can produce equipment and services of some significance for use for the immigration. And then companies can be easily companies that they do equipment of all sorts of kinds here on Earth, that they will have to start thinking, researching, and developing equipment that will be used in on Mars, Moon, for asteroids. Of course, we have to call in the private funding and banks. Also, investors that want to take their share, I mean, private investors, individuals, that they have to take some shares and contribute to the ISIC generation. So a way for success to go to space is to achieve engagement of all humanity to a common goal that can bring to peace, unification, and prosperity to all. So this is more or less what I have to say as a proposal. I have to ask you if you were interested about this this little presentation, to look at my last year's presentation on the 23rd annual International Mars Society Convention, which is on YouTube on Mars Society channel, which has a very thorough and analytical way of why we have to do it and how we have to approach this common humanity thing, which is go explore, exploit, and immigrate to space, as we did in the past centuries and immigrated from Europe to US, or in the ancient times that we were immigrating from the Minoan civilization to basically all the world. So I don't know if I have any questions that someone needs to ask a question, but I have done my presentation, and I'm waiting for you to ask me questions via email if you didn't have the time to
Hello.
watch
Hello,
this.
Manousos.
Yes.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm Susan. I'm the host here, running the session. So wonderful presentation. So anybody has any questions for the speaker? You can unmute yourself and ask the question. Somebody coming on or sharing screen? Oh, you're sharing screen. So there doesn't seem to be anyone wants to ask any questions, but maybe I'll ask a question is uh, where can we find more information? I know you've got your YouTube and maybe how on you have your email there, but where can we find more information and how can we collaborate with you?
Yes, last year I was one of the judges of the proposals for the Mars the Mars city designs, and I have already been in close contact with Abibo and Alfredo Munoz and Nuwa with his team. And we have already started discussing how do we can start creating analogs cities, small cities in the form of resorts, hotels, that they will start people put people into the mentality and preparation for going to Mars. So the best way to discuss cooperation is to start actually arrange appointments with a call from my email and organizing appointments to see what everyone who is interested to take part can do. I mean, if he's an investor or he's interested to take part of this idea of creating ISIC, he has to come in contact with us and see if he can take part of the idea. We have the ideas, the business ideas we have already in our minds to start doing things now that will take place to the moon and Mars in 20 or 30 years. Obviously, that includes Elon Musk and everyone who's already have business, running business that actually doing only the way to get there. But this is the minor part. The minor part is how to go. It's hard, very hard, obviously, but in order to take 100 million people in 70 years to Mars, as Elon Musk says, we need to have establish all bits and pieces and details of people, and that they will mass immigrate from Earth to Mars or the Moon, and we have to be really, really well prepared. And we're talking about a huge investment with lots and lots of people that are well organized and they have a common mentality. So we don't need to go to the rivalry among companies like rivalry of SpaceX or Blue Origin, or rivalry between countries like the US, China, Europe, etc. It's not a race against each other. We have to come together and join and create something that is interhuman, not international, not intercorporational. It has to be interhuman because it's something that has to be done from all us, all humans, to benefit all humans, in order to avoid all the problems that I mentioned in the beginning: conflict, war, self-destruction. I hope I answered. So,
Oh, that's wonderful. Great mission that you're on. Core to all, spaces for all. That's for sure. And that we need to be on that path. And I'm going to probably say William Shatner, right? Captain Kirk the other day, how he came back and he had amazing what we called overview experience. But what he said was, which was really interesting, he said he came back with a heavy sadness, even though it was an amazing exhilarating experience that transformed him, but he came back with sadness. And I think that also resonates with what you are doing and what you're calling out for everyone, right? Is to be able to heal and to save our spaceship Earth and our own humanity.
yes, you see, I have to. I would like to comment something on the Champlain. All his life, he was actually selling or presenting a fantastic world of how space it is. And when he got into the reality and saw what is the experience, and he actually started repenting as a human being by being humbled of what distraction and how actually stupid we are all humans towards ourselves. And he said that this experience must be experienced by everyone. And the good thing of space tourism is this: if you go for a few minutes for space, whatever is your background, then you realize that you have to change. We have to change the way we see ourselves. Borderless, united, all for all. And I'm saying this because the way humanity goes now, we are actually going towards a very big conflict, world conflict. If you consider that actually the Chinese army is actually, especially the Navy, is bigger than the US Navy today. And that has been done over 20, 30 years time. That's actually, and the same thing happens with other countries. Countries are building armies to defend profits. And the only way out of that is through war. So we have to get the mentality there and start reducing all the self-destructing, human destructing methods. We have to invest the best minds and huge amounts of money from great investors, big investors, that they have the power to spend money and invest money in order to accelerate as much as possible our move to space.